Hello and welcome back, Goats, to the Big Blue Purple channel. If you watched my last video, you would know that I'm a big fan of Risk of Rain 2 right now. I've been playing a fuck ton of the new DLC that came out a couple months ago, and it's just absolutely fantastic. I love this game. I have nearly 400 hours on it now. I've been playing it for like 3 years since it went into early access. So much fun, and I highly recommend it to anyone who might not know what it is and is interested in trying it. It's a roguelike game. I made a whole other video talking about why I think you should play it, so go check that out if you're interested. Now, real quick before we get into the video, I wanted to say that 99.3% of you are not subscribed to the channel. So, thank you. Now let's get right into reading these negative Risk of Rain 2 reviews. Very boring, with no progression or goal other than kill everything until you die, then start all over again with none of the gear you had. Product refunded. Well, unfortunately for our friend here, I believe he did not know what a roguelike was when he purchased this game, nor did he look into how it played at all, which is pretty funny, saying that there is no progression or goal in the game when the entire point of playing in the game is to unlock things and to get new items and to keep progressing your overall potential strength. A common misconception for the roguelike genre, for people who aren't very familiar with it, is that death is just restarting and you lose everything, but that's not exactly true. Yes, you lose the run you're on, but there are permanent unlockables you usually need to work towards that allow you to either play as a different character, achieve new items within your playthroughs, things like that. Overall, I think it's pretty funny that this guy just reduces the game to kill everything until you die, and then start all over again after playing the game for about 3 hours. It's not about skill, it's about RNG. As you progress to the later stages, your painfully slow speed will never allow you to have a chance to dodge endless barrages of missiles coming at your ass. This game is only fun when you have a good start. Otherwise, it's just a slow descent into frustration. Not to mention the fact that you have to try so hard with so limited given resources to unlock more stuff. I fucking paid for this game, at least let me enjoy its fucking full content. Stop with these unlocks BS. Well, our friend here is very upset with the unlocks BS because unlocking things is not fair, and I paid for the game, so I should have everything at once. Like, if this guy buys an MMO, does he, like, get fucking mad that he has to level up because he paid for the game and he should be able to use everything from the start? As for the RNG thing, I think I wouldn't say 50-50, it's probably like 30-70 to skill to RNG ratio. But skill definitely is a thing in Risk of Rain, and you can get your consistency much higher by understanding the game. It's just that skill in Risk of Rain is not what you'd expect. It's not like playing well per se, but understanding enemy patterns better, understanding where items can spawn, knowing where teleporter can spawn, and getting very comfortable with the stages is kind of how you gain skill in this game, as opposed to just quote-unquote playing optimally or doing more damage by rotating cooldowns better or something like that. Ultimately, this game is totally based on what items you get, and the quality of your run will generally depend on that. Like I said, I think it's about a 30% to 70% ratio of skill to items, so at the end of the day, your items still matter much more. You can be absolutely horrible at this game and win because you get the best items in the game, you know? I also think saying that a good start is the determining factor is pretty just wrong. Like, having played a lot of Risk Rain 2, I firmly believe that stage 4 and 5 are, I guess 3 and 4 are where the run is decided for you. You can get through stage 1 and 2 with just the most horrible items ever, and you'll be okay. Stage 3 and 4 is where the run will be decided if you either get the items to keep going or if you don't. So while yes, your early items can be important and can make the run earlier than necessary, you can also make a comeback in the 3rd and 4th stage, which, depending on if you're trying to beat the game, that's technically pretty late into the run, since you only have 1 or 2 more stages afterwards. The unfortunate thing about a lot of these reviews is that the people can simply say that this is not my type of game, I'm not, like, this isn't what I wanted, this isn't what I care about playing, but it's usually just these criticisms against the game that are just completely off base. Complaining that a roguelike is RNG based is just kind of ridiculous. Saying that I'm not really interested in the roguelike genre and you should make your decision based on that is a much more logical approach. An example of this for me would be Rust. I just absolutely can't stand that game because of the way it is structured. I would never want to play Rust because I don't want to put a bunch of time into getting shit just to go to sleep and lose all my progress. In Risk of Rain, that's not the same because you're losing your progress by dying yourself while you're playing the game, whereas Rust is something that you're putting a bunch of time into, get off for the night, and then all of a sudden all your shit got stolen because you weren't playing 48 hours a day. And again, that's not a criticism against Rust itself, that's just me simply saying that a game like that is not for a person like me. I'd rather go play something like 14, where I put a bunch of time in and I keep all that progress. And maybe that is similar in essence to how these people feel about roguelikes. They feel like their time isn't being well spent because they're not making any quote-unquote progress, even though they're maybe unlocking new items. They don't feel like that means anything to them. I don't know why I just went on this tangent, but like, the point I'm trying to make here is it's okay to not like these games, and you can just say that that's the formula of this game is not for you. But the reason I'm looking at these reviews and criticizing them and making fun of them is because they're people trying to criticize the game for its very core identity and the reason people enjoy it in the first place. Anyways, classic big blue purple video where I ramble about some random bullshit in the middle because why not? And I found this next one particularly funny because I honestly just don't know what the fuck this guy is talking about. In the last update, they did something and ruined the game. They did something. Before that, with my friends, we could make a run on Rainstorm and reach level 30 to 40 easily. Now we are unable to pass level 3. All the casual fun we had is gone. Now there is only frustration. Really a shame. I will change my review if you revert what you did on the last update. I found this one pretty funny because as someone who's played like pretty much every update since when they added Acrid to the game, right now I genuinely do believe the game to be like easier than it was not that long ago, like prior to the DLC, because the new items are so fucking strong and Void Cradles spawn very often. Where I think this guy's complaints are coming from is the fact that they added new enemies, and those new enemies require you to learn some new attack patterns and how to deal with them. A lot of the new enemies are pretty hard to figure out at first, but end up being, pretty standard. They're not much more annoying than the enemies in the base game, save the larva. Fuck those enemies. But stuff like the blind pest and stuff like the little rat guys that run around and the new void guys, I don't think they're like insanely like way more powerful than the base game enemies. But again, this is just me taking a guess at the quote-unquote something that they did in this update, because honestly I don't really fucking know. My best guess is the enemy types, and I don't really know what else would have made the game harder, because Sundered Grove maybe, but he's dying on stage 3 and not stage 4 apparently, so I don't really know. I couldn't tell you. Either way, I just found this one pretty fucking funny because he couldn't even specify what the problem is. He just said update ruined the game because they did something. This is probably my favorite review I read today. Morbius Fan 3 says mid-game. Honestly, Spit King. W for Morbius fans. Morbius sweep. Press and hold left mouse button. There is nothing more to do. I'm so tired of these games nowadays, man. You ever played CSGO? You ever played Apex Legends? All you ever do is just hold down left mouse button. I can't believe it. Come up with something more interesting. How about we hold down right mouse button for once? God. Overall, this is a pretty fucking funny criticism because it can be said about literally anything and it is wrong in literally every context pretty much. Unless there is actually a game where the objective is to hold down left mouse button and nothing else. To get slightly more into detail, because why the fuck wouldn't I go off on a tangent on this? Risk of Rain, a lot of it comes down to buying items, navigating the map, finding teleporter, tons of stuff that isn't left mouse button. Plus your right mouse button, your control, and your R ability, which are all integral to your move kit to actually play the game well. And if you're not using them, you're probably not going to make it very far. But anyway, I don't want to get too far into this because it's a stupid criticism and I shouldn't respond with a serious rebuttal. The game requires you to remember badly designed items by heart in order to be able to decide how to build your loadout. Not enjoyable game design. Levels suck and battles are boring. The least important but the most saddening piece of criticism in this is saying that battles are boring, because this poor guy never unlocked a character other than Commando, and he's probably right in his own eyes, and he's right in my eyes too, because playing Commando is boring as fuck, and I empathize with that. As for the rest of this review though, The game does not require you to remember what the items do. It'll usually be you pick something up and you're like, oh shit, that's good, and then it's committed to your memory immediately. You're like, okay, this effect is powerful. If I see this item again, I'm going to get excited. The other thing is, it's not like you're deciding to build your loadout in this game in the first place unless you're running Artifact of Command, so I don't really see the point there. Like, yeah, there's to some extent a level of building, especially given lunar items, but like really you're just picking up whatever the fuck the game gives you and hoping it synergizes well because it's a roguelike. Just because the items synergize in the game doesn't mean that the game expects you to get item synergies on every run because it's RNG at the end of the day. Also, like, what the fuck does he even mean by badly designed items? Like, huh? I feel like bro like did like one run. He picked up like a bison steak and a PSG, and he's like, "Fuck, dude, these items suck," and he was done. He was fed up. That was it. Like seriously, there's so many fucking cool items in this game. Like picking up your first ukulele and seeing all that lightning chain to things, or getting your first red item and picking up something like a Tesla coil or like a brilliant behemoth. That shit's hype, man. And not to mention like the two bands. God, I could go on for days about cool ass items in this game, but they actually suck. They're shitty items, and you can't make builds with them. God. Now this guy sure has a lot of hours in this game, so this can be interesting. I nearly dropped this game after a few hours because of how obtuse it is. I pushed through and managed to find some enjoyment in it, 200 hours worth apparently. I still wouldn't recommend it to anyone. This is like some Destiny 2 shit. There is no tutorial, and whether you're looking at item effects or character skills, the in-game descriptions are vague at best and utterly wrong at worst. Unless you're willing to spend hours combing through wiki pages or Steam guides to learn how the game actually works, or to install mods to make the game tell you what the fuck anything actually does, steer clear of it. I feel like this just completely misses the point of the excitement of picking up a new item for the first time. It's actually kind of boring to know what everything does past a certain point, and I think it's why the DLC reinvented my love for this game again. It's because I had new items to learn, including new lunar items, and all these new void items, and tons of new like whites, red, greens. It's great. It's awesome. Learning what the items do for the first time is part of the fun, and I don't know why you would go on a wiki and try to figure that out yourself. People make it out like you're being held at gunpoint to like choose between certain items at points in this game. Like unless you're playing with Artifact of Command, you aren't choosing your items at all. You're getting random shit most of the time, save multi-shops. And if you don't know what to get in a multi-shop, you can just pick the random one every time. It's like, seriously, the randomness of this game cannot be overstated, and it is the entire core of how this game is designed. As for item descriptions and apparently character skill descriptions being wrong, I don't actually know how true this is. I do use the Better UI mod now because I've just been playing the game for so long. I'm interested in seeing how things stack and whatnot. And hey, that's always an option, but I prefer not to tell new players to mod the game or whatever because it can turn people off. But still, there are options to get like on the nose statistics, like numbers, if you want to. But you're absolutely like this game is meant for fun. It's not meant for you to min max and optimize. You can do that. Nothing's stopping you from doing that. But I feel like this person is really overstating the value of like what items do and stuff like that. Like you just pick shit up and you get stronger. That's kind of all there is to it. As for no tutorial, I don't really know what you fucking expect the game to give you as a tutorial. Like you load in and you got like the big flashing pop-ups on your screen like press mouse 1 to shoot. Press control to slide. Like shit like that. I don't think the game needs that, man. I think most roguelikes intentionally don't tell you much because the entire point is trial and error. You're supposed to fail a lot. You're supposed to suck at first. So that when you start to get those good runs going, you really feel it. I guess ultimately I just don't really understand what kind of tutorial this guy expects, like I was saying. Plus, once you've picked up an item once, you can go into your logbook and read what the item does again if you want to go check. There's always a way to do so. Again, I don't think the game wants to tarnish that experience of picking up a new item for the first time and figuring out what it does, be it good or bad. Anyways, moving on. Had an amazing run after almost 60 minutes where I felt unstoppable only for the game to bug out. There were no teleporter. and I had to restart after almost looking for 40 minutes. Wow. Bug has apparently been out for a long time, and there's still no fix to it. Actually, the worst game in the entire world. Don't play it until it's finished. Well, I don't think I've actually ever experienced this bug. Out of the two bugs I've experienced recently that have been very detrimental and killed runs were on stage 2 once I had literally no enemy spawns, and then when I activated the teleporter, no boss spawned either, so I literally got no items on that stage. Um, and then the other bug I had, but I think that was patched. This was a couple months ago when the DLC first came out. There's a void seed I had on Sky Meadows, and one of the guys went flying off the map, but he did not die, and he was just kind of perpetually stuck off the map, and I couldn't go kill him to clear the void seed. And then the teleporter was in the void seed, so I just got fucked. Either way, in all 400 hours I have played this game, I have never seen that bug once, but again, I'm not claiming to say it does not exist. I'm just not exactly sure, and I'm a little skeptical on that. Sometimes the teleporters are hard to find, man. I don't know. When you're new, like, sometimes you miss them. That's all I'm saying. But as he says, this is the worst game ever made. I mean, like, is there even any competition? Can you even think of one game worse than this? Maybe Elden Ring, but that's about it. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video, I think. I think that review is a great place to end off on to inform you guys not to play this game. It is the worst game ever made, and it is completely unfinished. So if you enjoyed this video at all, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you do, you will get $1 million instantly, I promise. So yeah, hop on that. Help me get big on YouTube, y'all. Jokes aside, leave a silly comment. Let me know if you want to see this as kind of like a regular series on my channel. I really enjoy just going and looking at these funny-ass reviews, and I think it could be fun to do it for like several games that I'm just enjoying or whatever. Go look at some pretty well-received games or games that I really like and just look at bad reviews. I enjoy doing it. I think a lot of people enjoy watching it. So yeah, anyway, leave your input in the comment below. Subscribe for $1 million, and I'll catch you in the next one.